Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm Jason, and joining me today is my amazing co-host, Julia. How are you today, Julia?
I'm doing great, Jason. Hello to all our listeners. I hope you're all excited because today we're discussing a very important topic, how to speak English without pausing too much.
That's right. Many English learners struggle with hesitation when speaking. They pause a lot, trying to find the right words, or they get stuck because they're thinking in their native language first, and that makes their speech sound less natural.
Exactly. Speaking smoothly and naturally is a big goal for many learners. But don't worry. In this episode, we'll share practical tips and exercises to help you reduce pauses and speak more fluently.
So, if you've ever felt frustrated because your words don't come out fast enough, or you keep stopping while talking, stay with us. By the end of this episode, you'll have some powerful strategies to think faster, speak smoothly, and sound more confident in English.
Sounds exciting. Let's get started.
All right, Julia. Before we talk about how to fix this problem, let's first understand why people pause so much when speaking English. What do you think are some common reasons?
Great question, Jason. There are several reasons why English learners pause a lot while speaking. The first big reason is lack of confidence. When people are unsure of their English skills, they hesitate because they're afraid of making mistakes.
Yes, and that fear slows them down. Instead of just speaking naturally, they keep second-guessing themselves. It's like their brain is saying, "Wait, is this the right word? Am I making a mistake?" And by the time they decide, the conversation has already moved forward.
Exactly. Another reason is vocabulary gaps. Sometimes learners don't know the exact word they need, so they stop and try to find it. This makes their speech sound unnatural and broken.
That's a big one. When your vocabulary is limited, your brain has to work extra hard to find words, and that creates more pauses. This is why expanding your vocabulary is so important. We'll share tips on that soon.
And let's not forget about overthinking. A lot of learners try to translate sentences from their native language into English while speaking. But English and other languages have different structures, so this slows them down and creates long pauses.
Yes, overthinking is a major fluency killer. Instead of speaking naturally, learners are stuck in their heads trying to get every sentence perfect. But guess what? Fluency is not about perfection. It's about flow.
That's such a good point. And finally, some pauses happen because of nervousness and pressure. When people feel nervous, especially in conversations with native speakers, they freeze and forget even the words they do know.
Oh, I see this all the time. When people feel pressured, their brains don't work as fast. That's why confidence-building exercises are so important. And don't worry, we'll share some of those today.
So, to summarize, the 4 biggest reasons people pause while speaking English are 1. Lack of confidence, 2. Vocabulary gaps, 3. Overthinking and translating, 4. Nervousness under pressure.
Exactly. And now that we understand the problem, it's time to fix it. Let's move on to the most exciting part. Techniques to reduce pauses and speak fluently. Ready? Now that we know why people pause when speaking, let's talk about how to fix it. Julia, what's the first technique to reduce pauses?
One of the best techniques is thinking in English instead of translating. Many learners translate sentences in their heads before speaking, and that slows them down. Instead, they should try to think directly in English.
That's a game changer. If you always translate from your native language, your brain has to do double the work. First forming the sentence in your language, then changing it to English. That takes time and creates pauses.
Exactly. A great way to practice thinking in English is to describe what you see around you in simple English. For example, if you're walking outside, you can think the sun is shining, the weather is warm, I see a dog running. This trains your brain to process thoughts in English naturally.
I love that. Another useful technique is using filler words. Now, I know some people think fillers are bad, but native speakers use them all the time to keep the conversation flowing.
That's true. Filler words like, well, actually, give your brain a second to think without creating an awkward silence. Instead of pausing completely, you can say, well, I think it's a good idea, or, I really like that movie.
That's a great point. Here's another powerful technique. Shadowing. Have you heard of this, Julia?
Of course. Shadowing means listening to a native speaker and repeating what they say immediately, like an echo. It forces you to speak quickly and smoothly without pausing.
Yes, you can do this with English podcasts, YouTube videos, or audiobooks. Just play a sentence, pause, and repeat it exactly the same way. Over time, your brain will get used to speaking without hesitation.
That's such a good exercise. And here's one more tip. Don't aim for perfection. Many learners pause because they're afraid of making mistakes. But in real conversations, mistakes are okay.
Absolutely. The goal is to communicate, not to be perfect. If you can't remember a word, try explaining it in a different way instead of stopping completely. For example, if you forget the word refrigerator, you can say the machine that keeps food cold.
That's a great strategy. So, to recap, here are 4 techniques to reduce pauses. 1. Think in English, not your native language. 2. Use filler words to keep the flow. Practice shadowing with native speakers. 4. Don't aim for perfection. Keep talking even if you make mistakes.
Awesome tips. Now, let's go even deeper. Coming up next, we'll share how to train your brain for faster speech. Stay with us. All right, now that we know some techniques to reduce pauses, let's talk about how to train your brain to think and respond faster in English. Julia, what's the first step?
The first step is expanding your vocabulary and sentence patterns. If you don't have enough words or common phrases in your mind, your brain will struggle to find the right words, and that causes pauses.
That's so true. And the best way to do this is by learning phrases instead of individual words. For example, instead of memorizing the word opinion, learn the full phrase, in my opinion. That way, when you need to share an opinion, the phrase comes out automatically.
Exactly. And another great technique is active listening. The more you listen to English, the faster your brain will process words and sentence structures. Listen to podcasts, audiobooks, and conversations, and try to predict what the speaker will say next.
I love that. And speaking of prediction, here's a fun exercise. Conversation anticipation. When you're listening to someone speak, try to guess their next word or phrase before they finish their sentence. This trains your brain to think ahead and respond quickly.
That's a great trick. And another powerful technique is imitating native speakers. Find a speaker you like, maybe from a TV show or a podcast, and try to copy their way of speaking, including their speed, rhythm, and pronunciation.
Yes! Imitation is one of the fastest ways to train your brain. The more you expose yourself to natural English speech, the faster your brain will process and produce English.
So, to summarize, here are the 4 ways to train your brain for faster speech. 1. Learn phrases instead of single words. 2. Listen actively and predict what's coming next. 3. Practice conversation anticipation. 4. Imitate native speakers to improve speed and fluency.
Great tips! Now that we've trained our brains, let's move on to practical exercises that will help you speak more fluently. Now that we know how to train our brains for faster speech, let's talk about some practical exercises that will help you speak fluently. Julia, what's the first exercise?
One of my favorites is the 1-minute speaking challenge. This is a simple but powerful exercise. Pick a topic and speak about it for 1 full minute without stopping. Even if you make mistakes, keep going.
That's a great one. And you can start with easy topics like my daily routine or my favorite food. If 1 minute is too hard, start with 30 seconds and slowly increase your time.
Exactly. Another great exercise is story retelling. Listen to a short story, a podcast, or even a movie scene, and then try to retell it in your own words. This helps with fluency and vocabulary recall.
I love that exercise. It forces you to think in English and form complete sentences. Here's another one. Speed conversation practice. Set a timer for 2 minutes and have a fast conversation with a friend or even talk to yourself in the mirror.
Yes, the goal is to respond quickly without overthinking. And for those who don't have a speaking partner, you can practice with speech-to-text apps. Just speak into your phone and see how much of it gets transcribed correctly.
That's a great way to check pronunciation and fluency. So, let's summarize the 4 best exercises to improve fluency. 1. The 1-minute speaking challenge. 2. Story retelling in your own words. 3. Speed conversation practice. 4. Using speech-to-text apps for real-time feedback.
These exercises will train your brain to think and speak faster. Now let's talk about mindset shifts to build confidence in speaking English.
Fluency isn't just about techniques and exercises, it's also about mindset. Many learners struggle with speaking because they lack confidence. Julia, what's the first mindset shift that can help?
The first thing to remember is mistakes are part of learning. Many people pause because they're afraid of saying something wrong, but mistakes help you improve, and even native speakers make mistakes.
That's so true. Instead of thinking, what if I make a mistake? Try thinking, every mistake helps me learn. The key is to keep going, even if your sentence isn't perfect.
Exactly. Another mindset shift is focus on communication, not perfection. The goal of speaking is to express ideas, not to sound like a textbook. If people understand you, you're already successful.
Right. And here's one more tip. Speak with confidence, even if you're not 100% sure. If you hesitate or doubt yourself, people will notice. But if you speak with energy and a smile, people will focus on what you're saying, not your small mistakes.
That's such good advice. So, to build confidence, 1. Accept that mistakes help you improve. 2. Focus on communication, not perfection. 3. Speak with confidence and energy.
Exactly. Now, to wrap things up, let's go over everything we learned today and give our listeners a final action plan. Wow, we've covered a lot today. Let's do a quick recap. Why do people pause when speaking?
People pause because they lack vocabulary, overthink, or feel nervous, but we learn techniques to reduce pauses, like practicing common phrases, slowing down, and using fillers naturally.
Right. And we also talked about training your brain for faster speech by listening actively, predicting conversations, and imitating native speakers.
Plus, we shared practical exercises like the 1-minute speaking challenge, story retelling, and speed conversations to improve fluency.
Finally, we discussed mindset shifts. Mistakes help you learn. Communication is more important than perfection, and confidence makes a big difference.
So, here's your challenge. Pick one technique or exercise from today and practice it this week. The more you practice, the more fluent you'll become.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more tips on speaking English fluently. Leave a comment below and tell us, what's your biggest challenge when speaking English?
We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.